Before we get started, if you enjoy the show and would like to support us, we have just two things we would like you to check out. Please head to our YouTube channel and subscribe to the show. Our goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers, so we need all the help we can get.
And if you would like to take your support to the next level and get early access to the show, you can come and join us on Patreon. You'll even get a shout out at the end of the episodes. Links to both will be in the show notes.
Right then, Cam, let's get on with the show.
And action, Mark.
Action. Yes. Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
So
still here.
yeah. It's all working fine. Yeah, I mean our hats keep disappearing, don't they? But we have got some quite festive hats on. So yeah, because this is our last show before Christmas.
It is. It is indeed. And we have got a sack full of stories, haven't we?
Whoa, I like it.
There's gonna be something. There's a topic here for everyone today.
Haven't you all been good boys and girls, everyone?
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Okay, so Mark, we're going to kick off straight off. There is the London Photo Trade Show happening in January in 2025. And Elecrom have unveiled their live stage schedule for the trade show. Okay, which is pretty good. So
who's
Elecrom, on? So it says here, I'm going to read through the press release. It says Elecrom UK is excited to announce their live stage speaker schedule for the highly anticipated 2025 London Photo Trade Show taking place at the Novotel London West Hammersmith from 16th to the 18th of January 2025. It's a place where they've done it many times there. This year's schedule features an impressive lineup of industry-leading photographers who will share their expertise, demonstrate innovative techniques, and showcase the latest in lighting technology from Elecrom. And attendees can look forward to a series of live demos, talks designed to inspire and inform photographers of all levels. And it says each session promises to deliver actionable insights and creative inspiration, with photographers demonstrating how to achieve stunning results using Elecrom's cutting-edge equipment. And you can meet the team from Elecrom, and they'll be able to give you a lot more advice. But Thursday, the 16th of January, Bjorn Thomason, Teresa Asplund, Victoria Baptiste, to name but a few. Friday 17th, we've got Neil Shearer, liven up your product photography. James Musselwhite.
You might need to see the Neil Shearer one.
Yeah. Victoria Baptiste, Inside Boudoir, capturing confidence and elegance. We've got Teresa Asplund, creative lighting and unconventional styling, fashion portraits, My Way. And then on Saturday, the 18th, it's the last day of the show. It's Paul Wilkinson, mastering portrait photography. James Musselwhite, 4 portraits in 60 seconds. Gary Hill, creative headshots. And to name but a few. And it says free registration is now open for the London Photo Trade Show. Obviously, been given a different name, Mark. It's not been called the London Photo Trade Show previously, is it? This is the Society Show.
Oh, is this a society show? Is that what this is?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm 99% sure it is.
Wow. Okay.
So this is something new. So if there's any of you that aren't familiar with this, you can get free tickets for this if you register in time. If you register late, then I think you have to pay. But there's lots of talks that go on, lots of workshops, lots of trade, suppliers, that type of thing. And it's right in the middle. No, Mark, it's we're working in Bath that week.
Yeah, so we're not going to be able to go, are we?
So, could try and make plans to go on the Saturday, but we'll have a look. So anyone out there interested in going to the first trade show, January 2025? Okay.
Check it out.
Exactly. Now, the Pulitzer Prize it's a coveted prize. And I didn't know this until recently, but they do a prize called Breaking News Photography. I think this is fantastic. There's a $15,000 prize money for this, which is not a lot, not really. Okay.
Well, yeah, if you, I wouldn't sniff at it. So,
Well, if you charge the amount I charge, Mark, right?
Oh, I see. I
There you
see.
go.
Yeah.
No, no. In the grand scheme of things, which is quite good. It's not silly money. Things. So the award is for breaking news photography, and it says here this is for a distinguished example of breaking news photography, which may be a single photograph or a series of photographs of an event that occurs with no advance notice and requires spontaneous coverage in the moment. And this year's winner is the photography staff of Reuters, and they've won the award for. I'll read this out for raw and urgent photographs documenting the October 7th deadly attack in Israel by Hamas and the first weeks of Israel's devastating assault on Gaza. So well done, Reuters.
Yeah.
And when you read what it's about, when you know who's won it and why they've won it, then you really understand the award is for a single photograph or a series of photographs that occur for an event that with no advance notice requires spontaneous coverage in the moment. And those images were probably being released within minutes of being taken as well. It's quite staggering how quickly people can respond to things like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not an area that we've really done a lot of, is it? I mean, it's it's an incredible job to do, and you got to be on your feet, and also you put, your life can be in danger as well doing this kind of thing. So yeah, it's obviously, I'd imagine. I know we kind of had a little jibe at the prize money, but I think it's more of a prestigious awards than anything
Oh
else.
God, yeah, oh yeah,
I mean,
that's right, yeah.
I don't know how much you win monetary if you win an Oscar, but you won an Oscar, so it's well done. And I think the finalists, we just need to mention them by name, I think. So we got just want to read this right. So we got Adam Alton of the Agents France Press and Nicole S. Hester of the Tennyson. So yeah, well done, you guys. Really well done.
Yeah, good stuff.
Right then. So, oh, sorry, you wanted to say a bit more on that?
I just wanted to say about the finalists' images, the reason why they were finalists, and we talk about, just very quickly mention what stories were nominated, what images were nominated. And Adam Alton, it was for a heartbreaking image of a man clutching the hand of his deceased daughter a day after a 7.8 magnitude earthquake killed more than 50,000 people in Turkey and Syria. Nicole S. Hester of the Tennessean, her award, or she was nominated for the prize. It says for a distressing image of a young girl looking out of a school bus in anguish as she is evacuated from the scene of a deadly shooting at the Covenant School in Nashville.
I mean,
well
I know
done, guys.
The staff at Reuters obviously were the winners over those two, but I mean, I wouldn't want to be a judge on that. How do you even begin to judge such emotional work? Yeah, incredible stuff.
Yeah, from something quite serious to something a little bit more lighthearted, Mark.
Yeah. So this is not an issue that me and you really have. Touch wood, that continues for a long time. Have you ever been on a dating app, Cam?
I haven't, and do you know what? I've got to be honest. I've never actually looked on a dating app.
No,
I don't need to,
of
course, right? But no, I've never actually looked.
No, I haven't either. I've never been involved in one. I've seen people on one, but I haven't really given it that much. I mean, I met my wife before all of this, so yeah, thank heavens I don't have to worry about it. But we feel that we're doing a bit of a, an information piece here for all those singletons out there, and there's a few tips on the right photo for your dating app. What do you reckon, Cam? What have you found out?
This is something from GQ. Okay, so obviously a high-end sort of fashion magazine, shall we say?
Yeah.
And it says that no group shots and no old photos, and how they speak to professionals to make sure that they sell themselves as best you can. And we live in a very obviously an image-conscious world, and it's going to be everything.
Well, with these apps, because it's all swipe left and swipe right, isn't it? I don't know which way is the right way, but it's and obviously that's looks, isn't it? First of all, you're looking at looks.
Which they
carry on.
Well, they say something here which is quite interesting. It says dating apps have now been around for a long time. They're nothing new now.
No.
Okay. And it says, even though we're a good decade in the app revolution, many people still thwart their own chances of finding love of the lifetime or a one night only variety by posting terrible pictures. Now, I say this to my clients, okay, to commercial clients, particularly when I get, a new client that will come in, especially if a conversation is going towards cost and it all comes down to costs and someone's trying to do it on the cheap, I'll always just say to people, look, you might have the best product in the world, but if you photograph it poorly, you're not going to do yourself any favors. You're not going to sell your product. You're not going to make your product look like a luxury product if that's what you're trying to do. So don't skimp on that. Now, obviously, people are doing it themselves because they're doing it as possibly selfies, and it drives me crazy when I see a lot of people doing selfies. And I'm going to put it out there, okay? You see a lot of females in particular, okay, of a certain age, shall we say, standing there with their phone, with the pout, moving their hair to one side, taking 20 or 30 pictures of themselves just to get that, that picture. And it's not necessarily even the most flattering one, but. So how do you, what do they say are the most common dating app mistakes? Okay, so it says here, common dating app picture mistakes include men who start off with their torso over their face, people who post pictures with friends, who could be all of them. People don't even use pictures of their face at all. It says, well, for some communities, privacy is vitally important. For the majority of people, these choices are unfortunately made out of incompetence. And somebody says, but I only have pictures with mates. Somebody says, I don't like taking selfies, and I asked some of my friends to take a few pictures of me down the pub and that type of thing. So,
yeah.
And it says, if you in your first few photos, you're wearing sunglasses or a baseball cap, looking away from the camera, have a busy backdrop or being photographed from a distance, then they're essentially setting yourself up to fail. It says the viewer needs to be able to tell exactly what you look like in the first 5 seconds. If not, then you aren't going to be getting matches, says Blaine Anderson, a men's dating coach who specializes in dating marketing. A dating coach.
Okay. A dating coach. Oh, my God.
It says, while film or slightly blurry photos might make people look like the arty type, Anderson recommends that you have at least a few high-quality photos so that potential dates can get a clearer look at you. If you've been snapped by a professional photographer, maybe at a wedding or a birthday, you might want to include these pictures.
Snapped.
He goes on to say that the first photo should be a close-up, high quality, where ideally you'll be looking at the camera. If you're looking directly into the camera, then it feels like you're looking at that person and you feel much more familiar to them, which is more likely to get you matches.
So that was under the subheading of "Don't hide yourself away," wasn't it?
Yes,
which is cool. The next one is avoid group shots, isn't it? One truly universal response: do not hide in the crowd. You're wasting a valuable photo. That kind of makes sense, to be honest with you. And also, they tend to be a bit rubbish, don't they? But yeah, so that's probably not the way to go. It says, let your pictures do the talking about the person you are. Blaine, who I've forgotten who Blaine is now. Sorry, who is he?
He's a dating coach.
He's a dating coach, right? Okay. Yeah. So it says Blaine says that along with images that make clear what you look like, it's important to have at least 3 photos that showcase your hobbies and lifestyle. If you like traveling or playing tennis, include photos that show you doing these things. Oh my word. It just seems so cheesy, doesn't it? But I understand that they are probably right. She says, whatever you're doing, you want to come across as fun and open and someone who would be pleasant to spend time with. Oh, is Blaine a lady? Okay. All right. I am wondering though, because I've often heard about not having professional photos done on these things.
Well, when they used to say, I don't know whether it's changed now, but in the fashion industry, if you wanted to become a model, they were saying, do not go to a professional photographer and have a portfolio of pictures shot. You just send in snaps of yourself. And if a model agency is interested in you, they will pay for a portfolio to be created for you. Okay. That was always a thing. Now, I think that's possibly, I don't know if it's changed in this day and age, but it's certainly like that going back a good few years ago.
Well, I always
they could always spot somebody from a snap and say, this is a good, So
I always remember it was to do with CVs as well. Like don't have a professional photo on your CV. You basically just want a passport photo because you don't want to look better than the boss, or you don't want to come across as like arrogant or something like that. So just have a. I mean, I don't think I ever put a photo with my CV, but anyway, those were the days. But yeah, so that's interesting. So professional Tinder photo. Oh, there is a professional Tinder photographer. Jordan Shields suggests choosing photos where you're doing activities that perhaps the other person could see themselves doing. But don't fall into the Tinder tropes. Another person says. Grusso agrees. There we go. The men want to be seen as fun, fit, well-traveled, established, etc. That translates into pictures of them on the ski slopes, fishing, at weddings, in a giant group shot, out with friends. Well, a giant group shot. I thought we just said we couldn't do group shots.
Yeah.
But out with friends drinking. It's she explains it's so generic that it doesn't stand. Oh, right. Okay, so she's saying don't do it. It's so generic that it doesn't stand out. After all, who doesn't like good food and traveling to exotic locations? None of those images offer an entry point for conversation. A killer dating photo doesn't just show people what you look like, it tells them what you're made of. If you're smart, you can use your photo to tell people more about who you are rather than writing it in the bio. No one reads bios, you know that. Okay, no one reads bios. You see, we are probably the worst two people to be sort of giving this information.
We are, aren't we? That's right. Because we haven't got a clue.
We haven't got a clue.
So next one.
No.
Next one, it says outfits and grooming are key. It says keep shirtless pics to a minimum. I guess it depends what type of app that you're on. Don't post too many selfies, otherwise you come across as narcissistic. Add shields. In terms of clothing and styling, Nelson recommends color. If you don't like wearing color, she suggests finding a backdrop that provides an injection of it. Also, no sunglasses. Eyes are the window into the soul, after all. Do wear new or clean clothes. Neaten up your beard or facial hair, or go clean shaven. He says. Now it's quite interesting because it was saying in the previous one about show the type of person that you are. Now, I love my football. Mark, you love your football. Now, I have a little collection of Liverpool shirts I've done over the years. I've had 4 or 5, not loads, right?
I've got a couple of Reading ones.
I only wear them, occasionally if there's a game on or whatever.
Yeah.
But if I was to have a picture taken in a Liverpool top, either someone's going to look at that and say, "Oh no, I don't like Liverpool," and completely say that, or someone's going to immediately say, "I don't like football." We're not a match, right? Now, the thing is, I could be a very casual football fan. I could take it or leave it, but it makes sense. But no, I can't. But right, it goes to show that you could wear something that somebody interprets that's the sort of person that you are. Do you know what I mean? So I guess it does make sense.
Okay. Well, let's go through some more of these. So backgrounds. Messy backgrounds are distracting and unattractive. You'll lose people's attention fast. Instead, choose a colourful, simple background, something that says something about you. So basically, then what you're saying is you'll take your picture outside Anfield, won't you? But
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then
if I did it outside the Medeski Stadium, no one would know where that is.
Exactly. That's right.
Anyway.
It says use photos that show what you look like now. Now that sounds like a no-brainer, but now I have heard this from one or two people I know that have used dating apps, and the number of times they I did meet someone didn't look anything like that in the photos.
Isn't there a phrase for that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it catfishing? Is that the phrase?
Is it? Yeah, something like that.
God, we sound like two old sods trying to work.
All right, okay.
Let's move on.
So, anyway, avoid shots with people who could be confused for your partner or child.
Wow.
Yeah, don't. Yeah. Well, you should never put pictures of kids, even if they're your kids. I would have thought.
Yeah. I guess.
I'll tell you what would work though. Picture with your pet. No, I'm serious. You took a picture with your dog, right, or with your pet. I'm sure a lot of people would think, I think that could work. Yeah, okay. I think that could work. I think that could work. Confidence and security. It says for Grosso, your pictures should say to a potential partner that you will not play into their deepest concerns about men. For women, that's safety. She argues, saying that men need to create profiles that show they are trustworthy. How do you create trust? Eye contact and smiles.
Right.
Says you don't have to be the hottest person on Tinder to attract attention. You just have to come across as quietly confident and happy in your skin. This is great as it levels the playing field and gives you all guys a chance, no matter what they look like. Make sure your body language is open, that you look confident, and most importantly, don't include photos where you don't feel good about yourself at the moment they were taken. You want to send the message that you're happy with yourself. As long as you are happy with yourself. You don't take photos, do you? If you're really miserable, you pretend to be happy. As soon as the picture's taken, you go back miserable because you're on your own. And we go. This is taking way too long.
Apparently, super serious, unsmiling black and white photos aren't good for dating apps. Well, there we go. Learn something. Learn something there. Photos which are colourful and you're smiling and laughing and looking into the camera are going to work really well. Is this really? I mean, this is really kind of sort of focused on men, isn't it?
It is a little bit. And then it goes on to you can edit your pictures, but not too much. It says there's a lot of stigma associated with editing photos, largely because it promotes an unrealistic beauty standard, but also because in the realm of dating, if it's taken to the extreme, it can lead to accusations of catfishing.
Catfishing,
See, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, still, there's nothing wrong with a little polishing. Let's say, for example, someone has snapped a near perfect photo of you, but there's a bin in the background or a giant blackhead on your forehead. Don't be afraid to make some digital tweakments.
Tweakments. I've not heard that before.
No. So it says a little touch up is fine, but don't turn yourself into a Snapchat filter. Keep it real. We're here to meet you, not your Photoshop doppelganger. Yeah. So Anyway, we spent way too long on that.
I didn't think we were going to spend that long on that, but there you go. This has got no guarantee of working, by the way, guys.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah. So we've given you no advice.
Just be yourself.
Okay, that's your bit of advice. Just be yourself. But then some people can say, well, how do I be myself? How can I be myself? It's just take a nice, happy photo. I always say, you take pictures of people looking happy. That's when they're at the best. A smile. Now, some people aren't natural smilers. Okay. Some people they're perfectly happy people, but they're not smiley people. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. So don't force a smile. Just sort of be yourself. Don't be miserable either, but you can, there's a way of portraying yourself and putting it out there. Anyway, we are not the guys to ask for that advice.
We are not a dating gurus site, so let's move on, shall we?
Exactly. Now, did you know, Mark, that the longest exposure photograph ever taken was in 2020? Okay, and do you know?
Well, we were in lockdown at that time, so
they obviously had time to do it. Now, do you know what camera would you say that photo would have been taken with?
Well, I know the story now, so I would have guessed
anyone
maybe a
listening,
5.4 or something like that, because they do tend to have longer exposures, don't they? But it's not, though, is it, Cam? You tell us what it is.
No, it's not. Well, it's been taken with a beer can.
Of course it has.
That's on the photograph. It says the longest exposure photograph ever was clicked in 2020, and it was taken through a beer can. And about 8 years now, in about 2015, a master's student from University of Hertfordshire put photographic paper into a beer can to create a minimal pinhole camera. Okay. She then placed the beer can on a telescope at official observatory of the university, Bayfordbury Observatory.
Okay.
The best coincidence happened. She completely forgot about it. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with pinhole cameras, basically you can make your own camera and process your own images. It's one of the greatest things to do. Yeah. And anyway, look it up. We won't go into how you make it and all of that. Okay, but this pinhole camera was made through a beer can. And she started exposing the photo and completely forgot about it. And so in 2020, about 8 years after it was taken, it was actually discovered.
Oh wow! So it's been on for 8 years. The exposure is 8 years.
Yeah, the exposure was 8 years. That's right. Yeah.
But was it attached to a telescope for 8 years? And no one must have needed that telescope then.
And she said, I tried this technique a couple of times at the observatory before, but the photographs were ruined by moisture and the photographic paper curled up, which makes sense. She goes, She said, but I hadn't intended to capture an exposure for this length of time. And to my surprise, it had survived. The photo, which everyone wants to know, captures the sun's journey in the sky from 2012. Each time it rose and set, almost 3,000 arcs of light were captured in the photo, which also captured a part of the telescope's dome, which is visible in part of the image. And it says the structure in the right corner of the picture was actually built halfway through the image. Now, the longest exposure picture to exist before this particular one took 4 years and 8 months, and it was by a German artist, Michael Wesley.
We beat the Germans.
Yeah, and it was just basically this picture was a stroke of luck that the picture was left untouched to be saved after all these years, and
wow.
It just goes to show that no two photographers, no cameras will take the same picture. Really, everything's always going to be different, and experiments, mistakes will produce some of the best images that are ever going to be taken. And it's a very stunning image. It really is.
Fascinating.
So,
fascinating.
That's right. So well done. I know we're 4 years late on picking up on this.
Our fingers are on the pulse on this one, aren't they?
Bearing in mind it took 8 years to take it. No one was in a rush. No one was in a rush. That's right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, sticking with the space theme, this links in very, very nicely.
It does. From one extreme to the other, though, as far as tech's concerned.
It is. Now, NASA astronaut Don Petit, photography from the ISS, has done a chat from space. It says NASA astronaut Don Petit did a live stream with NASA space flight from space and discussed his photography from the International Space Station.
Wow.
And it says aboard the International Space Station, Expedition 72 flight engineer Don Petit of NASA discussed photography life and work aboard the orbital outpost during an in-flight interview. This was earlier this month. And he's an avid space photographer, which he would be, and is in the midst of a long-duration mission, living and working aboard the microgravity laboratory to advance scientific knowledge and demonstrate new technologies for future human and robotic exploration flights as part of NASA's Moon and Mars exploration approach, including lunar missions through NASA's Artemis program. Now, you would expect, when you see these pictures, to be quite stunning because they're not the sort of pictures anyone else is going to be able to take. And when you look at the pictures that have been uploaded, they are visually, I mean, they're absolutely stunning.
Yeah, they are. They don't look real, do they? They look
they don't. But they are, and they're incredible. And what I think what people will be interested in what camera that these have been taken with. Now we could talk about Hasselblad. Because obviously, as we all know, Mark, the man on the moon, the first pictures were taken with a Hasselblad, not in a studio.
Yeah, of course, yes.
Okay, that's another.
I'm not convinced about that, but anyway. By the way, I do think we went to the moon. Though I'm just dubious about the imagery. That's all.
Right. Okay. So anyway, our space photographer here captured his images with a Nikon Z9.
Okay.
And I know all the Nikon users out there are going to have a huge smile on their face. Yeah.
Eat that Canon.
Nikon, right? And Canon are thinking, oh, right, Nikon Z9, right? But he used a Nikon Z9, and he has got some stunning images with it.
Yeah, that's really good.
And he used nickel lenses, and has obviously used that camera to, look at pictures inside the space station as well. I mean, the images do look absolutely fantastic. So
yeah, they
Z9.
do.
So a heads up for Nikon's flagship camera.
Okay.
Nikon's it. And on that note, Mark, let's grab a quick drink. Right, Mark. AI is where it's all at these days.
Well, yeah, we do talk a lot about it, and there's a couple of news stories that I saw which kind of fits under the AI sort of title, I guess. So Adobe's stock fell 15% as investors are uncertain of its AI direction. So that's one of the stories I found. And then another story was Instagram head warns about highly realistic AI generated images. So going to the back to the Adobe one, Adobe's stock fell 14.61% in the last 5 days,
bump in the positive direction this morning. And this was of December the 16th. So, that's today. Excellent stuff. So, yeah. So that was, because you're listening to this on Thursday. So this was Monday, the 16th that the story came out. So it had a positive bump this morning from a high of $549.93 on Wednesday to 46824 on the time of publication this morning. And it's not the lowest Adobe stock has reached this year, but it would be an inauspicious end to the company's 2024 should it not recover before the new year. It's gonna. This story goes on. I found this on Petapixel, by the way, and the story goes on about all the numbers and stuff. But I'm not really interested in that. I mean, what do you think about a company who's pushed AI? I mean, they've been pushing it with their beta versions, and they've been pushing it very highly, and they think they're going to charge you extra for a certain amount of background changes you do using the AI system. That doesn't come out yet, but they were planning on it, weren't they? And all of this, they've been kind of the forefront of it. But despite all of that, their stocks fell 15%.
Well, the thing is, there was something that was going about a while ago and more recently where people were saying, we should be boycotting Adobe because they were doing this thing where they're now I'm just trying to remember what it is here. So don't quote me on this, but they're basically Adobe are going out there and they're advertising to everyone out there, companies and whatever, that how you don't need a professional photographer.
You don't need a photographer. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if that's what Adobe are doing, they're obviously taking on they've obviously seen something where they need to move Adobe to in the future. I don't have a problem with that. Okay. But I think what they've got to do is, and I might have got this completely wrong, but they need to have done it with a little bit more thought, or at least under a different brand or something. Okay. And I know there were people saying, it's photographers that use Photoshop and Lightroom and Adobe, and that's a kick in the teeth for all photographers. We're professionals, and you're telling everyone that you don't need to use a professional photographer anymore. You can do what you want through our AI stuff.
And it's also been keeping them in business for the last 20 odd years.
Yeah. And I get it from both points of view, but businesses need to move on and move forward. And as they do, sometimes they're going to annoy some of their employees or their what they believe is their core market. But they have to sort of stay relevant. And that's the reason why they're heavily going into AI.
Yeah, I mean,
but they also need to be careful with what they do here.
Yeah, a lot of these companies are going towards AI, but I think the way they had that advertising was particularly, well, it was just I don't know, it was just a kick in the teeth, wasn't it? Because they are a photography business. That's where they're from. Now, I understand they need to diverse, but they don't need to sort of, drop us all off and then they carry on. Do you know what I mean? They didn't need to sort of put us under the bus is essentially what they did with that advertising campaign. And I find that quite crazy considering that, we've been their loyal customers for, as I said, the past 20 odd years. Of course, things move on. Of course, things have to change, and AI is going. As photographers, we're going to have to learn to live with AI and incorporate it in what we do. But I don't know. As I say, I think the phrase is Adobe put us under the bus, and with that advertising, and I think that's why it's got a lot of backlash. And yeah, you're right. That's probably got a big thing to do with this 15% stock fall. But it's mainly because investors are uncertain of its AI direction. So I'm not entirely sure what that means. But then,
and I was going to say, and then following on from that, you've got this other story where the head of Instagram warns about highly realistic AI-generated images. Now, going back, Mark, we were working in Manchester, weren't we, a couple of weeks ago? We were there for just over a week, and I don't know if you were sitting there with me, but there's one of the photographers that we were working with was looking at an AI program. I can't remember what it was called now, and we put a search in, and we said something like put a guitar, and we named a specific guitar. Said a 1958 Gibson Cherry Sunburst in a forest. Okay, in a forest, and a close up. And it produced this wonderful image. Okay.
Yeah. The screen, I guess. I mean, you didn't see.
Yeah. Sure, yeah. And because again, if you think about it, if it's digital purpose, you're not going to print from it. It was stunning what it did. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the power of AI. And again, I don't have a problem with that. We have to move on in the image industry. But the thing is, it says here the Instagram head, Adam Mosseri.
Well, I was just before we hang on. Before we go on to Instagram, if that's all right, Cam, there was just one thing I just wanted to say just about the Adobe thing, because I was just reading on here and it says investors are finding it hard to reconcile companies' bullish AI commentary with soft results and growth guidance. Bernstein analyst Mark Moloda, I probably not pronounced that right, tells MarketWatch, we have said for a while that Adobe was a show me story and has now become an explain to me and show me story. It could take multiple quarters depending on how visible it is to investors, and AI monetization will happen. So yeah, I'm not. Adobe has yet to monetize its generative AI offerings. I think that's what it is. Although the pricing structure and systems are in place, should the company decide to flip that switch, Adobe's current plan is to build a user base for its AI tools before charging for them. Okay, so everyone be aware of that. A strategy that allows creative professionals like photographers to use Adobe's AI tools as part of a normal Creative Cloud subscription, which some investors aren't keen on since it involves waiting in order to see returns. Right. So that's basically what it is. The investors want the company to charge us more, I'm guessing.
Yeah, of course they do, because they're investors. Investors don't give a toss.
No.
Okay, they want to see a return on their money, and that's what this is. This is what in the end. And you know what? The photography industry can kick off as much as it wants to do, but once Adobe puts a price up, people are still going to pay it. They'll be forced to pay it, and and there won't be very soon an alternative. A very good alternative, or as much as a very popular. There won't be anything to form a new software as quickly as Adobe, that suddenly people will jump to that platform. But then now we're talking about AI, and I want to come on to Instagram here, because the head of Instagram says, Adam Mosseri cautioned users against trusting online images, noting that AI is clearly producing content that can be easily mistaken for reality. Well, there's a story, right?
No crap, Sherlock. I mean, come on now. Right, I must admit, I'm just you've got two companies here that are, I don't know, the stock's fallen on Adobe. This guy's warning us about AI generated images, but these are the guys at the forefront of this whole thing.
Exactly. That's
it's kind of hypocritical, I'm finding.
It is. That's right. Yeah. So he goes on to say in a series of thread posts, Mosseri says it is becoming increasingly difficult to distinguish between real photos and AI generated images on social media. So what about all the filters that people put on their images on Instagram? And Instagram may not have invented all of that, but Instagram is the platform for people to.
Well, it's that and Snapchat,
really
I guess.
Pushed it, isn't it? Yeah. About the whole
Snapchat's
thing.
the other one.
So I don't quite know what this guy's angle is. He says whether or not you're a bull or a bear in the technology, generative AI is clearly producing content that is difficult to discern from recordings of reality and improving rapidly. Now, the thing is when people take a photo, a selfie of themselves, and they put all their filters on it, they look nothing like themselves. Okay, and that's causing a big problem because people see themselves differently. So when you take a real picture of them, they don't like it because that's not how they see themselves. So that's almost AI as well. So I don't quite know, without reading the whole story, what his angle is. Mosseri advises social media users to be discerning when viewing photos and videos online and consider the source of images. Well, then they should stop having face shaping filters.
Can I just put another opinion on this though, Cam? I mean, photos have always lied to us. This isn't anything new. It's a bit more sophisticated, I guess, these days. But you could crop an image in a certain way that told a different story to what it was actually telling.
Of course, yeah.
You could always do these things. So this isn't anything really new. But I guess as we I don't know, we use these photo apps all the time, and I'm guessing that us as a populace maybe have become a little lazy with really sort of looking at it. Yes, it has become a bit more sophisticated and probably even more difficult to tell. But also it's gone the other way. So and this is random because this is something I saw last night. I was looking on Facebook, and there was a quick interview from Patrick Stewart. Okay, we all know who Sir Patrick Stewart is. He was Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek, and he was talking about Red Dwarf. Have you watched Red Dwarf, Cam? Ever watched it?
No, I know it.
You know it. Okay.
I never actually watched it. Yeah.
If those who don't know who Red Dwarf is, it's basically a sci-fi show. It's a bit of a parody of all the things that Star Trek do, basically. And he was watching it, and and his interview was he was watching it, and he saw something that he thought infringed a copyright of what he was doing. He was about to call the lawyers when something happened on the show, and it made him laugh, and he put down the phone and kept on watching it. Now, that's not the story. The story is what I read in the comments, right? Loads of people were saying, this is a deep fake. This is a deep fake. This isn't real. This isn't real. This isn't a deep fake. I know it's real because I've actually seen this as part of a documentary on the TV. So I knew this was real, right? But loads of people were convinced that this wasn't real. And it absolutely was. So
yeah,
it is getting dangerous. Either way, I think.
Yeah. And coming back onto the whole Instagram thing, is my point about this is that I don't see what his point was to say what he actually said.
Well, it said Lasari suggested that social media platforms share details about people or accounts sharing content. This additional context helps users judge the trustworthiness of the source and to make informed decisions about the credibility of the content they encounter. Our role as internet platforms is to label content generated as AI as best we can. But some content will inevitably slip through the cracks, and not all misinterpretations will be generated with AI. So we must also provide context about who is sharing so you can assess for yourself how much you can trust their content. Now, that I think is more important than labeling something as AI or not, because it's not always about AI. Like I was saying, you can crop a picture a certain way and, you know, it can tell a different story. I think labeling where the picture comes from is a good thing, because it's not censoring as such. It's just giving you a little bit of extra information. You know, if Elon Musk posts something from somewhere, like, I don't know, he posts a photo and you find out it's come from Fox News, and you think, well, they kind of agree with each other anyway. This isn't, you know, this isn't necessarily a non-biased story that I'm seeing on social media. So I actually think that's a good idea, that the source of it, where it's come from, because then you can tell the intentions of the image, I guess.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I don't have a problem with AI at all. Okay, it's not about that, is it? It goes beyond. I think they try and justify. I think they're trying to justify and trying to make themselves out to be a little bit more responsible than they actually really are. But anyway,
yeah, I agree. I just think
I
think what we both said, it's kind of a contradiction that these people were reveling in it all and pushing it, and now they're going, "Oh, it's a bit dangerous, this AI." And I'm like,
yeah,
well,
exactly. That's right.
Everyone's been telling you this for the past 2 years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is.
That's right. Okay, so moving on. Now I'm going to just go over this story very quickly, but it's regarding a tourist who has been hit by an oncoming train while taking a selfie on the tracks. It says a tourist who attempted to take a selfie in front of a moving train was brutally hit and knocked to the ground by the oncoming locomotive. It says from Petapic. So it says the 55-year-old tourist who was reported to name Louis was knocked over by the approaching locomotive as she posed for a selfie in the tracks of the Alishan Forest Railway train in Chiayi, Taiwan. And it says in footage that is circulating on social media, the woman is seen trying to take a photo of herself with the train in the backdrop as she stands close to the tracks. Now, I mean, you know, you don't want to see people get hurt. You don't want to see people harm. Okay, but when people are taking selfies, I think they become so selfish and insular in the scene that they're completely oblivious of what's going on around them, other than capturing their selfie and putting not only their own safety in danger, but other people's safety in danger as well. And really, you see it all the time. People just stop in the middle of a street or something, or wherever they stop just to take that selfie. There's a real selfishness about it. That's what I think, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we're hearing about this stuff too much. I mean, it was me who found this story, and I had to double check it, because I'm sure early on in the year we had another story of someone being hit by a train taking a selfie, and I was like, "Oh, make sure this isn't the same story. It's not
Yeah,
the
that's
same
right.
story." You know,
No, because it happened
it.
just recently.
Yeah, it's people need to. I don't know. It just seems a bit silly. This selfie thing. We all like a selfie. We all do it, but I mean, come on, guys, use your noggins. Yeah, I mean,
It's, yeah,
I know.
exactly. It's a way.
Sorry,
It's a way of
I
the world.
don't. I don't want to be making light of it because someone's died, and that's a terrible thing. But I mean, you hear the Darwin Awards and all this kind of stuff, don't you? And you just think, come on, guys.
Mm.
There's loads of things that are dangerous in this world. A selfie does not need to be one of them. So,
Just to say that she didn't actually die. In fact, she
oh, did
didn't
she
have
not?
that many injuries.
Oh,
No.
sorry.
She,
I heard she was hit by the train, and I assumed
yeah,
she died. I might.
it
Okay.
grazed her shoulder, knocked her off balance, but then she hurt her foot. However, okay, a police investigation also revealed that it said the group had violated regulations by entering the track area.
Right.
Authorities have reportedly urged the Forestry and Nature Conservation Agency to revoke Louise Travel Agency's access to the Alashan area via the Mianwi line for a year. Louise will also reportedly face a fine for her actions. And yes, she
Yeah.
should definitely be
Yeah.
fined for her
Okay.
actions.
Well,
and what she did.
thank heavens she survived.
Exactly. We
Sorry,
said that at the beginning.
I missed
Yeah.
that bit. Sorry. But still, learn.
Yeah,
It's not that
exactly.
important.
That's right. Exactly. Right. Now, Mark, moving on. A couple more stories we've got left. Now, this is going to be of interest to anyone, any pro out there who regularly rents cameras and lenses, because we have a list which of top lens rentals 2024 charts of the most
Okay.
popular rental products, most popular photo and video gear for 2024. Now, there's a list of 20. I'm not going to read them all out, obviously.
No, but first thing I'm going to say, Cam. First thing I'm going to say.
I'm not going to say what number one was. I'm going to hold that
No.
fire.
But what? Looking at that list, Cam.
I know what you're going to say.
What the hell is missing?
Exactly. It says Nikon didn't make the top 20 list, but it says but saw the biggest year-on-year growth in rentals, cementing its third place. So
What?
it's going to be Canon, Sony, or Nikon. So if Canon are pleased with Nikon, there's no in the top 20. There are no Nikon products.
No Nikon products.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It says it's interesting to know, and we've not said what any of the products are. It's interesting to know what isn't there, with just two brands' products accounting for the entire top 20. And most people are going to know what those two brands are. However, Lens Rental has also published figures for the relative value of the rentals of different brands. And while Canon and Sony, who make up, it says the top 20, account for more than 46% of all rentals, Nikon saw the biggest year-on-year increase, growing from under 5% of rentals in 2023 to nearly 6%. Okay, so they've seen a growth, but they're still third within that. And coming at number 20, we've got the Sony FE24 70mm 2.8. Let's jump up. Looking at the Canon EOS R6, is the 14th most popular rental product of 2024.
And that's not even the current model.
Exactly. Okay. Now, looking at cameras, though, what comes out on top, camera bodies, is a Canon EOS R5. That comes in at number 6. And then just below that is the R6 Mark II.
Yeah.
Okay, now, Sony's most popular rental product camera is the Sony A7S Mark III. Okay, brilliant camera. And so is the R6 Mark II. So is the Canon EOS R5. But why I'm staggered that there's not a Nikon Z, not maybe even a Z9, but a Z7, Z6 Mark II or something.
Well, I think this might just be a lag, I mean, there's a couple of things to think about. Maybe Nikon users just buy their stuff.
Yeah.
This is just rental, so it's not like so they could buy their stuff here. So that might be a thing. But also think though it could be just a bit of a lag. I mean, Nikon have taken a little while to get their mirrorless range in where it should be. It has taken them a while, so I'm guessing then because of that lag, maybe in a couple of years' time, we will see loads of Nikon things in the top 20 too. So it could just be a lag. I mean, it's interesting to see. I mean, I think what probably backs that up is like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the list are all Canon mirrorless products.
Yeah. Now here's the interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah. But what's top, Cam?
this is staggering, really. It's a DSLR lens. Okay, a Canon DSLR 24 to 70 2.8 has topped this year's most rented list, which is staggering.
And it makes sense. It makes sense because, I mean, if you've just got if you've got a DSLR, maybe you're starting out, a younger photographer, you're probably thinking, well, am I really going to buy that lens if I'm going to be buying mirrorless in a couple of years' time? It makes complete sense.
Yeah,
it makes complete sense.
It does,
and also that that lens can still fit on mirrorless as well if you got the mounts. So
yeah. Now, although that was the most popular one, okay, it does go on to say that the most lenses that are rented by Lens Mount the most in 2024 were the Canon RF lenses. The Canon RF lenses were the ones that rented most. Nikon Z lenses come down in a low fifth, which is quite surprising. And then a couple of other bits that we go on to see as well in the top product brand market shares. We know Canon and Sony are at the top, then Nikon are third. You then got DJI, Sigma, Blackmagic, Fuji, Panasonic, Leica, Red, Manfrotto, Zeiss, Tamron that make up the rest of that sort of top list there. Quite interesting. Quite interesting.
Absolutely. I did make a mistake there. I said 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 were.
One of them wasn't, was it?
One of them wasn't. No, sorry. Number 4 was an EF 70-200, which again is my lens. Lovely lens.
That's right. Yeah. Right.
Anyway, moving on. Last bit of news, and then we've got a little thing to settle the score, haven't we? So
now this next one is. Next little story that we're going to talk about and topic is the most interesting one for me out of all of it.
Okay.
Because I don't know whether I like it, but is it just me sort of, basically it says Canon's latest feature costs $120 and is meant for school photographers.
Okay.
And it says Canon has announced a new cropping guide firmware update, which aims to make framing portraits easy and consistent. This feature costs $120 per camera and is available on the EOS R50, R10, and R7.
Okay.
According to Canon's website, the function includes 4 guides with built-in borders for standard print sizes. The guides are designed to work whether you're shooting in landscape or portrait and to let you frame both headshots and full body portraits.
Okay.
I guess if you're doing a lot of school photography, think, it's a no-brainer. But then are you becoming so robotic? I don't know. I don't know whether I like this.
Well, no, I do like it actually. To be quite honest with you, I mean, we were in, as you said, we were in Salford the other day. We had issues with the software that I was using on the stage thing, which was ridiculously zooming in and cropping the images that I was taking. If I could have had some guide to match that, actually, that would have made my life a lot easier. We managed to get around it in the end. But no, I think this is, I mean, I don't do a lot of school photography, I guess. But if you do want it consistent, then what I'm finding quite interesting is that it's only for the R50, R10, and R7. I mean, I don't know any pro with those cameras.
I know, that's right.
The R6 and the R5 is I mean, maybe we get it for free. I don't know. But yeah, I find that odd.
So I'm looking, I mean, this comes from dpreview.com. And I love reading the comments because the first comment is, it's great for people who are brain dead, like the people at Canon who came up with this.
Whoa!
You know what? I think it's, I can see where it's going to be useful, but then you're going to get more of these school photography companies, and I'm not going to mention names. There's one big company that do a lot of school photography, probably the most well-known one in the UK, who are going to start to employ people who basically going to put your tripod there, put your camera there, and get the person's face in there, and then just press click. It's going to become, and if that's what their market needs, and that's how they're going to make money, that's how they're going to make money. But that's what a lot of photographers are going, how they're going to be trained.
Yeah. Also, what gets me here is the firmware update is going to cost $120. I thought firmware updates were supposed to be free.
But exactly. Yeah. So an interesting sort of development there. If this is true, I can understand a lot of people are going to love it. But the thing is when you get two people who everyone's got a different size head. Their hair is different. Okay.
Yeah.
You get some people that have got very big hair. They have a small head, but they've got huge hair. So where do you do that? And how do you frame that? Are you just always going to say no, as long as, because I know that there are some people that have got huge hair, really big hair. And if they frame it the way they have done in these sample images, the head is going to be absolutely tiny. The face is going to be absolutely tiny. So, this is something that will have to be seen in practice. That's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Right. We're going to do one last thing before Christmas.
Very quickly. Yeah.
Well, quickly enough. No, we'll give it, the right amount of time it needs, because this is very, very serious, Ken. And I notice you've taken your hat off. I reckon you should put your hat on.
Okay, I'll put my hat on for this. It keeps going out of frame. Hang on.
Yeah. But let's talk about your hat for a minute. So,
okay.
Mine is your traditional Father Christmas hat, of course. But you seem to have Father Christmas arse coming out of your head. What's that about?
Wow. It's actually my son's. So
of course, I should have known it was Jordan's. You're not that funny, Cam.
And when my wife was putting up the Christmas tree yesterday, this came out in amongst all the Christmas decks, and she'd put it up in the kitchen. Thought, oh yeah, I'll grab that. So when I saw you with your hat on, so So, Mark, yes, we are talking about a top list here, aren't we?
We are. So it's a very important list, and we've written it down. So Christmas movies. We've written each 4 Christmas movies.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you put your favourite one at number 1.
Yeah. I had a conversation with my wife about this briefly yesterday. Not of us favourite Christmas movies, but we were saying we don't actually ever say to one another, why don't we watch a Christmas movie?
Do you know?
Right? No. We don't.
Me and Nat watched one last night.
Yeah, but did you actually say, why don't we watch a Christmas movie?
Well, we said, let's watch this movie because it's Christmas. We wouldn't watch it in the heat of summer. Do you know what I mean?
No, of course. I get that.
We weren't like, oh, Christmas movie time. We were like, well, it's Christmas. Let's watch this film. So it's kind of the same, but it wasn't, we wouldn't, like I said, we wouldn't watch it in the summer.
No. Okay, so number 4.
Okay, what's your 4th one?
Okay,
and then I'll tell you my 4th one.
My 4th one, and I had to research this, and then I then I remembered it, thinking I watched this many times over the years when I was growing up, and it's Babes in Toyland, 1934, Laurel and Hardy. Again. Babes in Toyland.
Okay.
And it's 1934, and it's a Laurel and Hardy film.
All right. Okay. I've never seen it.
And I can't even really remember it in great detail, but I remember watching it many, many times as I was a kid. And seriously, you cannot knock Laurel and Hardy. Okay, they were absolute geniuses.
Oh, so they absolutely were. They absolutely were geniuses.
Okay,
no
so that's my number 4.
Okay.
What about yours?
Well, I'm going to go for number 4. So my list consists of the top 2, which are definitely sort of like the ones I watch a lot, and then the second 2 are ones I kind of watch a bit, but I like them. And I couldn't really. They'd be joint third if we couldn't do anything. But anyway, my number 4, Gremlins.
Okay,
yeah, brilliant. It happens at Christmas. Gizmo is a Christmas present to the main character, and Jim Henson at his best. It's funny, it's a bit gruesome, it's a bit scary, but it's also hilarious. And love it. Love a bit of Gremlins.
Okay, my next
one.
3? My next number 3 is the Polar Express.
Do you know what? I do like that one. It's a bit of an odd one.
It is.
There's no real conclusion to anything, but.
The reason why I've said that is because I remember going to watch it at the cinema with Jordan, taking him and watching that.
Oh wow! Okay.
And it was brilliant to actually go and watch it. And I remember it for that. So my first one was Laurel and Hardy because I remember growing up and watched it, and it used to be on sort of all the time. And then, of course, in the Polar Express, and I remember taking him to go and watch that. And yeah, so that comes in as my number 3.
Does he still watch it now?
I bet you he would, because
Yeah.
I think he'll watch with his girlfriend Christmas films.
See, I didn't I didn't really include any of my because I must admit this isn't my number 3, but I do remember Santa Claus the movie. That was kind of a random
Right.
one.
Yeah.
But not my number 3, because I do like it, and it's just funny. The Muppets Christmas Carol. Love the Muppets.
Oh, right, yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
Michael Caine is Scrooge. I think Gonzo and Rizzo are just incredible. They're brilliant in it. You got obviously all the standard cast: Fozzie Bear, Miss Piggy, and Kermit, and they're all in it. And yeah, really good. I like it. It's a classic, isn't it? Oh, I also should put Scrooged in there as well.
Oh yeah,
Scrooged.
hang on a minute. Hang on. You can't start chucking in your top.
Yeah, I forgot about Scrooged. I would have put that in, because as soon as I saw Christmas Carol, Scrooged as well. Bill Murray, what a film. Yeah.
Oh dear. Right. Okay. So another one, which when I was sort of researching, I think what comes to mind, and I'd forgotten that it was set as over Christmas, was Lethal Weapon. Okay.
Yes.
The Lethal Weapon films were absolutely brilliant.
I mean, it's just the first one, isn't it? That's Christmas.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just the first one.
Absolutely brilliant. You know, and they were great. And I remember those. I remember watching them when they came out. They were great films.
Yeah.
Love those. Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, wasn't it? I think.
So that's your number 2, is it?
Yeah, that'd be my number 2. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, my number 2 is Home Alone 2.
Okay. Right,
for some reason, me and Nat, we both like the second one more than the first one.
Right.
Do like the first one, but I don't know. New York at Christmas. I mean, what can you go wrong? Obviously, it's got the usual hijinks of Kevin McAllister defeating Joe Pesci. I mean, Joe Pesci's in this. It's kind of crazy.
That's right. I know.
But not only is Joe Pesci in it, but you've also got Tim Curry in it, who's the maitre d' at the Plaza Hotel, and I love a bit of Tim Curry as well. He's amazing, and he just plays that arse so well. And he's just wicked.
I know, that's right. Yeah. So okay. So and then my number
top
one.
What's your number one?
Now I have to say it's probably the one that usually comes out top in most Christmas lists. I would say whenever, and for me, deservedly so, is Wonderful Life. Okay, It's a Wonderful Life, 1946. What a great film that is, and it is usually top of the list. I reckon it's top of 9 out of 10 lists of great Christmas films.
I would agree.
And I watched it for the first time only, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. And yeah, I watched it and remember thinking, do you know what? That is a great film.
Yeah. No, you're right. It is. I mean, it's a classic. I don't think I've seen it all the way through, to be honest with you. Right. But it is a classic. I agree with the fact that it's in most lists. You're probably 9 out of 10 lists. You're probably right. However, not on mine. So mine is the 1 out of 10. That doesn't have it at number top. My top one is Die Hard, the first one.
Okay, yeah.
It's the Christmas film. Anyone who says it's not a Christmas film is just wrong. It is, it is a Christmas film. You've got Bruce Willis just doing Bruce Willis. I mean, he does it well. It's just early Bruce Willis, and that's what the kind of stuff he did, and he was doing it well. But for me, the film is only this film because of Alan Rickman, and Alan Rickman is just superb in it.
Yeah.
Again, it's that kind of I like Tim Curry in Home Alone 2. It's that kind of sort of malevolent, sort of nasty kind of, but he's just a bit of a dick as well. You know what I mean? And he's brilliant in it, and that's why I love it. I love Die Hard, and it's the only time of year I watch it. It's a Christmas film.
Yeah, I might watch that. And I might watch Lethal Weapon actually this Christmas. Yeah. So do that. Okay, now.
Oh, and Scrooged. I have to say, I do have to have the shout out Scrooged. I wish I put it on my list.
Can't do it. You can't do it. No, it's
just a shout out.
And okay, well, I'll do a shout out as well, but I'm not going to go there. About Great Christmas. I'm glad we didn't do Great Christmas songs, because Mark, I know you would have mentioned Mariah Carey in there somewhere, and then I would have just Yeah, that would have been it for me. That would have been it for me. Anyway,
Why
thank
would you
you
think
to our
Mariah Carey?
patrons.
No. Hang on a minute. Why do you think Mariah Carey would be in my top Christmas list?
I cannot stand Mariah Carey.
No, neither can I. No, there are so many better ones.
No, let's not go there.
Twisted Sisters. They've got I've forgotten what it is now. Let It Snow. They do a version of Let It Snow by Twisted Sister. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Check it out.
Check that out. Good stuff. All right, Mark, thank you to our patrons for supporting us.
Yes, absolutely.
Guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening.
Very good. Very good.
We hope you have a great festive break. We're still here. We're still going to be going strong. So we'll keep you company Christmas and going into New Year as well.
Absolutely. So that is a thank you to Rebecca Ellie, Carl Sherville, Amira Zainab, Rob Percy, Craig Chuck, Emily Brown, Nick Payne, and Frank Case. Thank you very much, guys. One day I will get Cam to read that out. Don't worry.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening. And
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Ho,
Christmas.
ho, ho.
See you all. And we'll catch you after Christmas. We do have another show after Christmas. So we'll catch you then.